Hey everybody, it is the day after our fated game against UCF, and we're a little bit freaking banged up from yesterday, and of course, lots of rumblings going on around the Georgia Tech program. So, word on the street today is that the Georgia Tech Athletic Association has called an emergency meeting for tomorrow, Monday, and to discuss Geoff Collins and possibly Todd Stansberry's jobs. Todd Stansberry being the athletic director of Georgia Tech, and Todd Stansberry might get fired as well because he had opportunity. Well, first of all, he's the one that signed Geoff Collins to this crazy 7-year long contract where if he's fired in before the end of the fourth year, then he's owed the entirety of his buyout of his contract. So Stansberry is the one that, of course, signed him to that contract, and Stansberry is also last year he stood by Collins. He's married himself to Collins, tied himself to him, and tied his success therefore with him too. So I wouldn't be surprised if Stansberry gets fired too, along with Geoff Collins tomorrow. So it's happening. It's in motion. We have, the president and everything at the game in attendance yesterday. Of course, we went to UCF yesterday and freaking lost a game in which we should have won. We had a better roster. We had better, we outgained them by a lot, by almost double, and I had 10 points to show for it and freaking lost. And it was unacceptable. And it was a terrible loss, even more so than the Ole Miss loss, because yesterday was a winnable game. I mean, we probably were never going to be Ole Miss, but yesterday was a winnable game that we lost because of Collins, because of special teams disasters, penalties, and red zone inefficiency, and kicking the freaking field goals, and just disasters like that. So this has been the final straw for Geoff Collins. He's done. He's done. Finally, we're gonna be expecting the firing tomorrow. So I can't wait for that. But what does this mean for going forward for Georgia Tech? Who is going to be the interim head coach? Now, we don't exactly have the best staff. Now, who are the candidates? Well, let me go ahead and say this. Andrew Thacker, our defensive coordinator, probably getting fired too, because Andrew Thacker, everybody wanted him fired last year. He should have been fired last year because our offensive coordinator was, and Geoff Collins was supposed to, clean house and kind of get a new staff in here. Well, he kept Andrew Thacker for some unknown reason, and he demoted him apparently, but he pretended to get rid of Andrew Thacker basically, and didn't. And so Andrew Thacker will, I mean, if there's any justice in this world, Andrew Thacker will be fired tomorrow too. So there's no shot that he becomes interim head coach. If he did, I would probably really freak out, because Andrew Thacker is a bum. He doesn't know how to coach a defense, and he needs to go. So who could be the interim head coach? You kind of look at the offensive coordinator, the best coach on the team. It's Chip Long. He's only been here for since the end of last season. Geoff Collins brought him in after he fired our offensive coordinator last season, and Chip Long has been he was the offensive coordinator for Notre Dame for a long time, and he's a good coach. But of course, Chip Long has only been here for so long. He's only coached 4 games. And he's got a lot on his plate. So from what I'm hearing, Chip Long would not be the interim head coach, even though it seems like he would be the best choice, probably because he's the most tenured, the most experienced coach. He's played or coached at the highest level. He, from what I'm hearing, is not going to be, because he's got offensive coordinator duties to fill, and it would just be too much for him to do head coaching duties and offensive coordinator duties. So it sounds like that's not going to be the case. It sounds like Brent Key is actually going to get the head coaching interim position. And Brent Key is our offensive line coach. which our offensive line has been terrible ever since, moving away from the triple option. So how's this going to work? That's all I know about Brent Key. That's all I know. He coached at Alabama. I do know that he was at UCF at a time, and he was offensive coordinator for them for one season, and they went like 0-12 that season, back in like 2015 or something. They won like one game or something. They averaged like 10 points a game. So him as offensive coordinator clearly not worked out. I'm just not so sure about Brent Key. You can never be sure about a freaking position coach becoming interim head coach. The season's a wash anyway, but it's just very, I don't even know what to say. Brent Key, hopefully he does a good job. Hopefully he can run the program better than he can run the O-line. And I get it. I've been very patient with the offensive line. Thankfully, we've had a mobile quarterback that just doesn't get obliterated every time the pocket breaks down, because I get it. It's one of the toughest positions to overturn from the triple option, and he's tried to go into the transfer portal and tried to coach him up. So I've had a lot of patience with the offensive line. It's just, I don't know. It's year 4 now. You'd think we'd have somewhat of a decent offensive line, and I would say our offensive line isn't abysmal, but they're below average. That's for sure. So, how will Brent Key work out as head coach? I don't know. Hopefully, this move, it allows the head coaches to coach their positions, or the assistant coaches to coach their positions, because from what I understand, Geoff Collins has has his hand in these positions. Like, he, has a say in what plays are called on offense, and which is just silly. That's what I've heard. So who knows? Maybe it'll work out, and maybe the team will rally behind, this new staff. Andrew Thacker needs to go. That needs to happen. We need somebody else to take over as interim DC. I don't know who that could be. A lot of people were talking about Seymour, but I really don't know. I really have no idea. So, shit. That's our D-line coach, but I don't know. Lots up in the air about the Georgia Tech program this season, but I'll try to keep you guys up to date, and we're gonna see how it goes. Expect probably be throwing a party here whenever I hear that Geoff Collins gets fired, and it'll be a freaking great time. And we'll try to move on and try to look at our season. We got freaking Pitt up next week, so that's a tough game for an interim to take over at. I'll tell you that. But anyway, go Jackets. I'll see y'all next time.